Have you ever felt that twinge in your chest when you realize that, even wanting to be a part of something that was put to the side for no apparent reason? Maybe it's a simple conversation, a call that seemed to be natural, and all of a sudden you find yourself excluded, invisible, in the face of a world that seemed to be welcoming to everyone, except for you. This is the feeling of isolation, of being on the edge, and it happens more often than we realize, often in disguise, for the words, the ones that seem harmless, but carry the burden of the rejection of a culture. Stay with me until the very end, because that's all I'm going to share it now. You will be surprised. A lot of these phrases, which seem to be only a common hiding the violence of the world, an exclusion that goes above and beyond what our eyes can see. It is as if, for a back or a smile or a reason, apparently with great care, it was your intention to turn away, to fall, to deny the value of someone's exactly for the reason that a lot of times we can't even identify it at the time. Let's think together about what happens when you are caught up in a sentence that is, at the time, seems to have no importance, but which, in the light, it reveals a deep deletion. These words carry a message, which goes beyond the meaning of family. They say to me, say that you are no longer welcome, and that his place is not here. His presence is not wanted. The most intriguing is that a lot of times, the message is hidden for a reason that you try to look carefully, as if it were a worry, but a carefully disguised as a review. But in fact, it is a way to delete, and to reinforce stereotypes, reinforce boundaries, which is not always realized at the time, but they leave a deep mark. From now on, we will explore these in detail, to understand how racism is veiled, and the stereotypes you can't hide behind the words on a seemingly simple to-do, and how this interplay affects not only the one who is to be excluded, but also anyone who is part of a group that discriminates against them. Because too often, to the exclusion not only of a person, but on the whole, is a social construction that reinforces the prejudices of so subtle, barely noticeable. Stay with me, because this story still has a lot to prove, and what you are going to find out, now you can open your eyes to a reality that is often overlooked, but is one that needs to be addressed. If the story made sense to you, here's an invitation to let it out in the comments that this story inspired you, whether it's an opinion, an experience, or even a feeling that you have to put in to hear all of it. Your participation is very important for us to create a space for the exchange, the true one, where more people can feel welcome and are encouraged to think about these issues is so important, like the video to help the message reach more people, and spreading awareness of and empathy for the suffering of light and openness. And if you want to continue with this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It's a way of showing that you value the dialogue, and you want to be a part of a community that seeks to understand, transform, and grow together. For each comment, each of the enjoy, and each and every sign that strengthen the network connection so more people can have access to the stories, that you can change the perspective and to open the way for a more just society and consciousness. So don't hesitate to join because of what you have shared here. It makes all the difference. Right now, we're going to move on because there's still so much to explore in this journey of discovery and self-reflection. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line because that is the truth. Hide the often lies precisely in the way that we view our own decisions and in a way that we can understand the impact they have on our lives and in the society of all around us. It is fascinating to notice how the small, daily acts that seem insignificant at first glance, it can actually be the trigger of a transformation, of a silent, almost invisible, but an immense power. A journey of self-discovery is not a straight line, and often behind the scenes of such changes are hidden under the layers of doubt, fear, and even for a routine, which prevents us from seeing beyond the obvious. When we begin to question our own choices, something inside of us to be a part, it's a bit like a curtain that opens to reveal a stage full of possibilities, as before, seemed to not be seen. With this revelation, it is often accompanied by a sense of freedom, but also responsibility. After all, to see more clearly the impact of our actions, and that we are aware of the fact that every decision carries a weight, a result which could have an effect beyond that of our own universe. It is at this point that a growth mindset is the one that values continuous learning and development staff, and becomes an ally in the powerful. The transformation is real. Think beyond the immediate, to understand the impact of our choices in the society, the sustainability of the planet, or the construction of a more just world. It requires a connection to something deeper than the ego, or the desire for individual success. It is a journey full of emotional maturity, courage to face up to the truths that a lot of times we would prefer to conceal. During this time, there are many revelations that challenge our long certainty, and that's where real change begins to happen. This is not just a change to the outside of the fit surface behaviors, but an inner transformation that changes the way we see the world and interact with it. From this understanding, we realize that it's a routine. It is often in the hold. It can be a great ally for a change. Each of the daily routine and brings with it the opportunity to make choices that are more conscious, to think about the impact of the actions to be in line with the values that really matter to you. It is as if one fit to be a part of a lot of head high, which make up the journey of evolution. And at the same time, this routine will also reveal all the behind the scenes of who we are, what we often try to hide it or ignore it. Yet, here are our most truths, and this is where we can start to build a new narrative, one that is based on authenticity, responsibility, and hope to have a positive impact that goes beyond ourselves. In this connection, the impact of our decision-making, it also leads us to reflect on the role of the company in the process. After all, we are all pieces of a huge mosaic, where each and every action of an individual influence the whole. When we look at our choices in this respect, a more extensive, with a sense of belonging and a collective responsibility comes naturally to us. With the understanding that our actions can inspire change in other people, it makes us more aware of what's really important. What can we do differently? What we can influence in order to create a more just and sustainable. What happens many times is that we get caught up in a sort of comfort zone. Where's the routine? It gives us a sense of control, even if that control is an illusion. But when you open your eyes to the truth hidden behind the surface, we see that it is precisely such a change, the courage to get out of this world, that we find the true power of transformation. And this transformation is not something that happens all of a sudden. Rather, it is a solid construction, one that requires patience, autocompaction, and a genuine desire to improve. With each step forward, with the consciousness that is a seed that is planted in the fertile soil of our soul, in the hope that it may not remain unfruitful actions that could positively impact other people's lives. It is at this point that we begin to understand that it's a journey of discovery. It is also a day of its release. Free yourself from the bondage of the fear of the judgment of the establishment, and, in particular, to a limited view of yourself. When we opened up the space for the truth to hide, we noticed that you're capable of so much more than we might have previously thought. The courage to face the truth gives us the strength to make choices that are more aligned with who we really are and the world we want to build. And when you do that, you start to realize that it's our story, while unique, is a part of a spiderweb, where every strand, every decision, every action, and contributes to a transformation of the collective, which you can and should go beyond your own reach. Right now, I think of it, everything. It is important to remember that this journey does not have a defined end. It is an ongoing process of self-discovery, adjustment, and growth. With each revelation, each made a conscious decision, each and every small step in the right direction, it is a very important part of this narrative is that we're building together. And when you think about all of this, it becomes clear that our actions have an impact that is something that, if it increases, it spreads silently, but with a strength that can transform reality. So, when you look at what's ahead of you, you can be assured that each moment of reflection, each more self-aware, it's an opportunity to move further in the journey of change and development. And here, at the end of this section, is that the desire to know, what do you think about all of this? How do you see the impact of their decisions on their lives and in the world? He writes in, I'm on this journey too. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth which is hidden by the back of our decision-making, is often well hidden under the layers of limiting beliefs, conditioning, and that little voice inside you insists that he cannot doubt of our own potential. When we begin to understand that our choices are not merely the result of chance, but a result of a mental construct that can be turned into everything takes on a new meaning. It's as if despertassimos to a place where we have the power to rewrite our own history, to shape the narrative of what defines us, and it won't happen overnight, but rather by means of a continuous journey of self-discovery and transformation. In the process, it is important to recognize that each and every decision, no matter how simple it may seem, it bears a huge impact on our history. Whether you decide on a new career path, choosing to face up to a fear of the old, or to simply change to a routine that no longer serves us, we are, in essence, building a brand new version of themselves. And in this construction, it takes courage, but also a deeper understanding of what's really important. Too often, we get stuck on the idea that we need a big change or a supernatural power in order to progress. In the name of Christ, it begins with small actions in mind, a willingness to question the standards that have been imposed, and they often don't even realize that they are there to influence our actions. On the basis of these reflections, we see that our way of thinking is the foundation of all of the transformation. As we are aware of the world around us, how do we interpret our experiences and obstacles? These questions are crucial because they reveal that the roots of our own limitations, and at the same time, they point to the potential of overcoming them. When we understand that our beliefs are shaped by the experiences of the past because of the stories that we have heard or what we have of ourselves, we begin to notice that we can rewrite this narrative. And that's the real power of change. The power to change your perspective, to see beyond what we have been taught, and to bring about a new reality, the more you align with our values and dreams. This is where it comes to the importance of open-mindedness, a willingness to learn, unlearn, and relearn. After all, it is the personal evolution is not a straight line, but it's a journey of ups and downs, discoveries, and new beginnings. Many of the times, and the revelations of the most impressive appear just when you least expect it, when we allow ourselves to question everything they ever believed to be true. These findings, as simple as it may seem, has the potential to change our view of the world and of ourselves, opening the door for a chance to be there seemed to be unattainable. And when you do that, you start to realize the impact of our decisions go far beyond what we can imagine imagine and influence not only our own destiny, but also that of the universe all around us. Because of this, the day of the change is a process of self-discovery and constant, and where every step you take, however small it may seem, it takes us closer to our true nature. It's as if we're in a great theater, where every decision was a speech that sets the course of our history. The more aware we are of these lines, we have to adjust the script to create different endings, and perhaps better. Thus, the transformation is no longer something in the distance, and is part of our daily life. It's a daily choice to evolve and be open to new opportunities arise all the time. And so, as I reflect back on all of this, there is the feeling that we are all connected by some kind of invisible force that drives our actions and our changes, a power that is often only able to recognize when we allow ourselves to listen to what is really behind our decisions, our emotions, and our doubts. It is in this understanding that we find out the true impact of the journey, because it shows that we are on the leading authors of our history and will be able to transform each and every chapter of courage, hope, and a genuine desire to improve. And even though I know that the road can be challenging, but that's the beauty of it all, the ability to create a new narrative, one that is more aligned with our purpose in more depth. It beats there in the very core of our being. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the essence of who we are, the authors of our own story, that is, in fact, to discover one of the greatest truths that are hidden, that many people go through life ignoring them. It does not come from one day to the next. Rather, it is a journey of self-discovery. A kind of revelation is silent on what happens when we stop to listen to what it's really vibrant in all of us. Many times we get so caught up in the routine, which by the expectations of others or our own limitations, that we forget that we have the power to rewrite the script, to try new ways to transform the obstacles in time. This awareness is the starting point to a real transformation, because it puts us in control of our own narrative, one that gives you the freedom to decide what chapters do we want to live in right now, what emotion do we want to grow, and what decisions lead to the growth of our times. If you think about it, we realize that most of the impact comes from the recognition that in our everyday actions, in our deepest thoughts, our choices are more simple. It all adds up to the story that we're writing to each other. And this realization is liberating, because it challenges us to take responsibility for what happens in your life, not to blame outside factors or situations that seem out of our reach. This is a mind shift that takes courage, but it also opens the door to an emotional release that few achieve. When we realize that we are all writers, we begin to see beyond the apparent limits, in addition to the circumstances which seem to determine our own destiny, and you begin to realize that there is always a possibility to change the settings in a new direction that would lead to a more profound impact, be more in line with who you really are. And this change, in turn, affects every aspect of our lives, from our relationships to our when making investment decisions, the way we think about the challenges to the way in which to celebrate our victories, however small they may be. Each and every choice we make, every action we take, is a word that is in the chapter we are writing at the same time. This awareness encourages us to be more intentional, to challenge our own limits, and to find, in fact, the thing that makes you vibrate, the thing that brings meaning to our journey. Because in the back, the big revelation is that no one else can write it for us. The story of our lives, it is a work of art. We can paint it with colors that reflect our inner selves more fully, and with the traces that show our courage, our doubts, our hopes, our dreams, more of the deep. At this point, it is important to understand that this freedom to create your story doesn't come without its challenges. After all, the change of the route is about having the courage to leave behind what was already comfortable with it, to face the fear of the unknown, and to take responsibility for each and every step taken in the direction of living a life more aligned with our core values. But at the same time, that's the beauty of the process, the ability to evolve and to reinvent itself, to transform their own limitations into opportunities for growth. And in doing so, we find that the impact we can make in our lives is so much greater than we imagined, because we are aligning our actions with our very essence, authentic, and with what really matters to you. And so, as we reflect on this journey of self-discovery, it is clear that it is not only about the changes in the surface, but it is a transformation from the inside to the outside. It is a chance to revisit our beliefs, the question of what we learned throughout life, and to make room for a new vision of the world, a view that, with respect to our inner truth, and it leads us to live with authenticity. This is a journey that requires patience, dedication, and a keen eye for the small change of daily living, for it is they who, in the course of time, they build a new life. Every decision, every action, every thought, positive or appreciation, you are like the seed that is planted with the intention to flourish in life more fully, more in tune with our deeper purpose. In the midst of this process, a lot of times, we are faced with moments of doubt, of uncertainty, of fear, of failure, or of not being good enough. These emotions are all part of the path. It represents the growth of our movement, a sign that we're getting out of your comfort zone in the direction of something bigger than themselves. And it is precisely at this point that true strength comes from within, when you have decided to continue on, even in the face of difficulties. Because deep Deep down, we know that our history is not a straight line, but it's a journey of ups and downs, learning and discovery. And this understanding gives us the strength to move forward with confidence that we are shaping a narrative that is impact, not only for us, but also for those around us, through the example of the courage, hope, and authenticity. As we move forward in this journey, we have become aware of the fact that the choices we make today will influence the impact of the future. And that's a responsibility which, when taken with the love and determination, and turns it into a chance to create something truly unique and powerful. Because at the end of the day, the biggest revelation is that our past, no matter how challenging it has been, until now, always you can earn a new direction, a new color, a new lease of life. Just for the people to decide, with all the courage you have, to what the next chapter will be written with the hope and purpose, and that the strength of the one who knows how it is able to create a real transformation, it was born there, in the depths of her heart. And so, as we think about all of this, it is evident that our journey is never just about reaching a destination. It is about learning how to enjoy each and every step, every nuance, every little achievement that is a part of the great mosaic of life. Because in the end, we are all the writers of history that is worth having, with all the colors, emotion, and revealed hidden, just waiting for us to have the courage to pick up the pen and begin to write a new chapter. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens when we begin to realize that the power to change our story, it is entirely in our own hands, and often hidden beneath the layers of insecurities, fears, and limiting beliefs, which is not always possible to identify at a glance. It is as if, behind every decision, every action, there's a fundamental part of that is, if you set it with care, it can unlock the potential that even then seemed to be invisible. This is a journey of self-discovery, to dive into the behind the scenes of our own mind, and to discover the revelations of the occult, which helps to shape who we are and who we can become. The truth is hidden sometimes, is just our capacity to see beyond what the eye can pick up. To the majority of people's lives, trapped in a narrative that has been built up over the course of the year, because of external influences, because of past experiences, or by the way in which we have learned to interpret the world. But when we begin to question these stories, and when we stop to reflect on our true motivations, are something that is starting to change. It's like opening a door, which was locked up for a long time, revealing a world of possibilities, and the choices before would have seemed impossible. At this time, the decision to change that narrative, it becomes a real internal revolution, a change of mind, and has an impact on every aspect of our journey. And there you have arrived on the scene with a fundamental question. How to you can actually reprogram people in this world? How can we, in a conscious way, to leave behind the patterns that limit and create a new reality? The answer to this lies in the courage to make different choices, to embrace the discomfort of the unknown and the challenge that I have been taught as truth, because you are, in essence, for the transformation are born of the epidemic. We faced our fears, our doubts, and our own shadows, and in so doing, we discover that we are much more than we believe it to be. With each small step in that direction, that is, a revelation, a piece that fits in the construction of a new version of ourselves, the stronger, more aligned, and more self-aware. It is in this context that the mind begins to act as a very powerful tool. Don't just wish for something, but is to bring you a new way of thinking, feeling, and acting. This is a paradigm shift that involves recognizing the impact of our daily decisions and understand that every choice is an opportunity to rewrite our story. When we were able to see this connection, it is clear that we are responsible for the script of our lives, and this responsibility must be faced with courage that we need to face the challenges more difficult. After all, it is the real freedom is the ability to decide who you want to be, regardless of the external circumstances. And it is precisely here that the day-to-day makes it all the more engaging. Because if you notice that you have this power, and we are invited to explore behind the scenes to internal, which until now remained hidden, the revelations come when you least expect it, and often what it seemed to be a weakness into our greatest strength. We have found that, on the back of each challenge, there is opportunity for growth, a chance to reinvent ourselves. In this process, we have learned that the transformation is not a one-off event, but an ongoing evolution, a journey that requires dedication, autoconviction, and, above all, a genuine desire to change. When you think about all of this, it is clear that the change starts within, in the silence of the choices we make, and intimate. Every thought, every feeling, every decision that we make in the course of the day, you have the power to shape our history in a way that we don't always get to see right away. But when we cultivate an open-minded and receptive to new possibilities, we begin to realize that the real magic lies in our capacity to create, to build something that is interesting to us, with authenticity and purpose. And in it, we become mere spectators of our lives to make us, the authors are aware of a story that is worth to be lived. And as long as this understanding grows deeper, one thing becomes increasingly clear. It's the liberty of rewriting our story. It's a great gift for the new day. Every morning brings a new opportunity to do something different, to think differently, to act differently. It does not not matter your past, no matter what it has been lived up here. The important part is the decision to go ahead with the courage to look within and find that strength in you that you might be concealed beneath the layers of doubt and limitation. It is our very essence, the one you can turn to any of the above scenarios, the more challenging it may be, an opportunity for growth and development. Suddenly we realize that our story doesn't need to be a repetition of what has already happened, but it's a work of art that is in constant construction. And then, when you take over the role of the creator and what seemed to be an obstacle, if it becomes our bridge to the next level. With each revelation, each and every insight urges us to put an end to the most firm in the direction of what we really want in our lives. And along the way, the confidence in one's ability to turn invisible, in reality, it becomes our best ally. After all, it is the journey of change is non-linear, but in every turn, each and every deviation from it reveals a new opportunity to learn, to become stronger, and move forward with more purpose. Now I want to invite you to think about all of this, because after all, the greatest revelation, it's the power to change your story. That is, in its very essence. Every decision, every thought, every action is a key piece in the puzzle that is the way of who you are and who you want to be. And it is that deep emotional connection with this fact that we find the strength to continue, even though the paths that appear to be uncertain and the obstacles seem insurmountable. Because, in the end, we're all here to write a single narrative full of discoveries and possibilities. And that's the beauty, is just in the process of creating a continuous basis. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me." I now want to go more in depth on this subject, for it is precisely in this journey of self-discovery that is often found in the largest of the revelations about themselves. It is as if each and every challenge, every doubt, it was a piece of a large puzzle, which when seated at the right moment to reveal a picture that displays who you really are, beyond the mask and the expectations of external stakeholders. So, at this point, you realize that all the things that seemed to be a limitation, in a way, it turned out to be an opportunity in disguise, a chance to change and expand our vision of the world. The transformation is, in many times, it happens behind the scenes of our mind, and where the old beliefs and fears are accumulated to create a sort of invisible wall that prevents us from moving forward. When you can't look on the inside with a candor and courage, we can begin to understand what those obstacles are not as robust as well. They are in fact constructs of the mind that we can debunk you with an open mind, a conscious choice to change the narrative that we tell ourselves, of course. This change in perspective, it is like a key that unlocks a door to a world of possibilities, and where the impact of our actions is to be multiplied by a more in-depth understanding of our own potential. And it is in that moment of revelation that all begins to make sense in a way that's more comprehensive. The journey is not only about achieving results, but also about to find out just who we are in the process. Every decision, every step you take, it's a good opportunity to reaffirm our authenticity and to challenge the hidden truth that we have, and that a lot of times over the limit. After all, how often do we allow ourselves to be carried away by a routine control for the expectations of others, or a fear of silent make mistakes? And in doing so, we end up leaving you for listening to our own voice, the one that has all the answers to the most sincere and heartfelt, and manufacturing. To understand this dynamic, we have begun to realize that the real change happens from the inside to the outside. Is not enough just to want to change the world around us before we turn to what lies within us. It is a kind of impact, built in, when they worked on, and is reflected in our attitude, in our decisions, and in the way we think about the challenges of day to day. Such a deep connection with our inner selves is what we feed our strengths, give us the strength to move forward, even when everything seems to fall apart, and makes it possible to create a narrative of the life that is truly our own, free from the shackles of unnecessary. And in the process of self-discovery, we have also entered in contact with all of our emotions, the more genuine. Feelings that are often avoided for fear of seeming vulnerable. But in fact, it is essential to understand what drives you and what limits us. When we learn to embrace those emotions, without judging, we opened up the space for transformation to a more in-depth change of the mindset that allows us to see beyond the surface of the superficialities. It's in the quiet that we found the answers to the most valuable ones, the ones that connect us to our most pure, and that in one way or another, it ends up impacting the whole of the journey. When you realize all of this, we see that the transformation is not a one-off event, but an ongoing process of learning and growth. With each step taken, each and every obstacle you overcome, it adds a layer to this, which we are the same. And then, even when it feels like we are standing still, in fact, we are constantly on the move, setting and adjust from there. That's the beauty of a life lived with a purpose, to know that no matter what happens, there is always a chance to rewrite our history, and how to reprogram your mind and renew our commitment to our true selves. Now, I want you to think about it. What are the beliefs that you have, loads that may be on you, preventing you to go above and beyond? What are the emotions you need to feel it, because you think that in them you will be destabilized? And most importantly, what you can do today, to this moment, to begin to break down these walls, both internal, and open up space for a new narrative. Because deep Deep down, this is the biggest transformation of all. This is what happens to your mind, in your heart, in your soul. And she is able to have an impact all around them, creating a journey to a lighter, more real, and more in tune with who you really are. He comments that it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the transformation that we're talking about. It is so much more than just a simple change of attitude, or in an attempt to improve their daily routine. This is a real revolution in the home that challenges all of the things that you believe to be true about yourself. And during this time, many of the times we come across with the hidden truths that we have, the ones that you prefer to hide out of fear, out of shame, or a sense of comfort in the wrong. This may surprise some people. When they come to the surface, they have a huge impact because it reveals who we really are behind the mask that we make from time to time. A journey of self-discovery, it is in fact a lot of the revelations, a discovery, a constant in those who are behind the decisions that we make, the reactions we have to the world, to the emotions we feel. It is an immersive behind the scenes of our mind, and where it all happens silently, but with a strength that can transform every aspect of your life. In this process, a lot of times we realize that our choices are not as free as we might have previously thought, and that they are profoundly influenced by the patterns of legacy, past experiences, and beliefs that don't always make sense to our present-day reality. When you accept the truth that is hidden, we can begin to understand that many of our limitations are not external, but internal. And it is a revelation of the powerful, because it gives us an opportunity to rewrite our story and create a new narrative, one that is more in tune with who we really are and the impact we want to have on the world. Every decision is an opportunity to reaffirm this new journey, of which the authenticity of the growth of the real, rather than letting ourselves be carried away by the old ways. Many times, it no longer makes any sense. It's like opening a door that was locked from the inside, and you realize that you, on the other hand, there is a vast space of possibilities and development of a truly connected with, which is the deepest in the US. This is a change of mindset, that it involves the courage to face up to the truths that are more difficult. It also presents a reflection on the impact that our actions have on those around us. When we act in a way that is more conscious, more accessible, we realize that our choices have a ripple effect. Do they have a positive influence on the people who are next to them, creating a chain of processing that goes beyond our own limits? In this connection, the more genuine it makes us to understand that we are part of a greater whole and that our actions will reverberate in the journey of others, and to transform our way of thinking, we are also contributing to a more dramatic impact over the long run. And all this is happening, a lot of times, behind the scenes of your own mind, where the limiting thoughts and insecurities, they try to convince us that we are not able to, you should not try to change it. But the truth is that when you demystificarmos, these locks are built. We opened up the space for a new narrative, a story of courage, authenticity, and inner strength. Each step in this direction, it is a victory, a triumph, a new understanding of who we are and what we can accomplish when we connect with the essence of true. It is a journey of discovery and constant, in which each congregation will lead you to a deeper understanding of what the change is. First and foremost, a matter of decision-making. Such a decision is to look within, to come to grips with the truths that were hidden, as it is the starting point of a deep change. And this, in turn, affects all areas of our lives, from personal relationships to your work, your dreams, and your goals before you seem to be distant from others. When you come to realize that our greatest strength lies in your authenticity, you begin to build a connection that's more true with all of the things that makes us feel good, makes us grow. And, in this way, each and every small victory, every insight, and every decision that is aligned with our essence, it builds up a bridge and a solid to a life more fully, more consciously, more powerful. Now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen on the surface. It is in its very essence, the soul. It is there that they are the root of all that we are and all that we can be. And then, when you explore these roots, we have found that the secret is not to seek for something that is external, but in the rescue of the things that has always been inside of us, waiting to be released into the atmosphere. When we take that step of courage, of honesty with yourself, you realize that the freedom to be who we truly are is the key to unlocking a more meaningful life, more in tune with the truth that is hidden, but is as powerful as it is. And on this journey of self-discovery, with each revelation urges us to continue on, to evolve, to transform each and every aspect of our being that is our true nature, to shine forth with all his strength. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because they understand that the connection between authenticity and transformation is the key to truly move forward in our journey. Many of the times, and spent a year in hiding behind a mask, to be convinced that such a layer of protection to protect you from prosecution or frustration, but is, in fact, that they end up in the move away from the core of the most pure. When we allow ourselves to uncover the truth hidden, we can begin to understand what the impact of that change is, the only built-in. It echoes in every area of our lives, influencing our decisions, our relationships, and even the way we see the world. The transformation that occurs when we embrace who we really truly are, it's such a great message, one that happens behind the scenes in our minds, many times without our realization of it immediately. It is a process of breaking free from the shackles of fear and doubt, and of rewriting the narrative which we have created ourselves. And in it, our way of thinking and becomes a true reinvention. Suddenly, things that once seemed impossible or out of reach, it is an opportunity for growth. It's as if desbloqueásemos a hidden potential, an inner strength, which was there, waiting for the right moment to emerge. To dive deeper into this thinking, we can begin to understand that true transformation takes courage. Don't just acknowledge the truth hidden, it is necessary to act in accordance with it, even if it means facing the unknown. Every decision we make, from this understanding, it is like a seed planted in the soil of authenticity. And those seeds, and with time, they germinate, a new version of ourselves, the more in tune, more free, and more accurate. It is a journey of self-discovery, where at each time step, we reveal a layer of most of our lives, as we unveil an ancient mystery that we have inside of us. A look behind the scenes of this transformation. Many of the times, they are quiet, internal, and so may go unnoticed. But if you look closely, we realize that all the small choices each day, how do you speak the truth, set boundaries, or to simply take time to reflect, they are the tools that shape the way that the process of change. This, seemingly simple, is actually the foundation of a new mindset, a new way of seeing yourself and the world. And to the extent that this idea is strengthened, it creates a profound effect on our self-esteem, our confidence, and our ability to cope with obstacles on the most resilient. However, on this journey of transformation is not linear nor rapid. It requires patience, perseverance, and above all, a provision of reinventing itself. Each of the revelation that we make about who we are leads us to a deeper understanding of the truth, which is often different from what we were taught or what they expected of us. And it is at this point that the impact is to amplify. To be free of outside expectations, we gain the power for creating a life that truly resonates with our core values, our dreams, our passions. This is a real revolution in the home that, when properly conducted, it transforms not only our minds but also in our reality. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic because of this connection between self-awareness, decision-making, and the impact that it's a continuous cycle. When we begin to understand the power that is within us, we become more aware of the choices we make, our actions, and our words. And with these choices, in turn, feeds our development, creating a domino effect, which brings us to new heights of consciousness and freedom. It is a process of change that just won't die, because with each layer of the discovery, there are new opportunities for growth, new doors have been opened in your journey to authenticity. And in it, the more it becomes clear that the search for the truth hidden, that is, in fact, a search for the self. A search revealed that you have always been there, hidden beneath layers of fear, insecurity, or social conventions. The more we connect with that truth, the more we realize that we are capable of shaping our own reality according to our deepest desires. And in doing so, we find a freedom that goes beyond the constraints of the outside world, the freedom that comes from the inside to the outside of a conscious decision to be who we truly are in this transformation. And so, it's no longer a question of a change in the surface, and it becomes a journey of self-discovery that redefines everything they believe to be possible. Considering all this, it is clear that the impact of this finding goes beyond our own lifetime. As we become more of ourselves, we inspire others to do the same. The fact that we have revealed a lot of times, it is a mirror for who you are on the same journey of doubt and insecurity. Thus, the transformation becomes a stream of light, which is spread by touching lives, changing stories, and building a network of people who, one after the other, they decide to reconnect with your essence and to live more fully. It is a movement that is quiet, but the impact of the depth, which shows that real change starts from within, and that this is capable of transforming the world around us. Whatever may be our point of departure, the courage to explore that truth is hidden. It is what really makes it stand out. With each step taken in this sense, it is a statement of who we are, masters of our destiny, capable of rewriting our story in an authentic, without fear of what others will think. And that freedom is won with effort and dedication, and it's what drives us forward, always looking for a new layer of self-awareness, as close as possible to our true nature. Because at the end of the day, the greatest change happens when we allow ourselves to be who we truly are, without masks, without any folds, and with all the strength of our authenticity beating strong in my chest. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the journey of self-discovery is, in fact, it is a revelation from the layers that make up who we are to the truth. Too many times, and have spent the years in shaping an image of what is believed to be acceptable, and that it is safe and to a certain social recognition, but in the end, the subnet mask, just us, away from our essence is pure." This finding, that the change of paradigm built in, it is a real transformation, which calls for courage, patience, and a portion of the vulnerability that we are not always ready to receive. The truth hides behind all of this. It is that too often, we carry a history of the limitations that don't even belong to me, the stories that we have learned from a young age, to external influences, which have become the internal foundational beliefs. These beliefs, in turn, shape our daily decisions, our reactions in the face of challenges, and even the way we think about success and failure. When we begin to question this narrative, to notice that it doesn't represent our lives, it's like opening a door to a new world of freedom. It's as if, suddenly, you realize that you are much more than our own opinions, our own insecurities, or your current condition. That understanding is the one that actually starts with a fundamental transformation, a shift in perspective that impacts every decision, every relationship, and every dream that we have. And here comes the importance of a look behind the scenes of one's own mind. Because a lot of times, the things that you think will be in our thoughts, the more authentic they are, in fact, a reflection of the old conditions. This finding shows that the world is to achieve something outside, but on the breaking out of that which holds us in-house. It is a process of letting go of the limiting beliefs, to recognize that many of the limitations that were imposed upon them by him, that are not belongs to us all, a story that you can rewrite it at any time. It is at this point in the journey to become a true revolution of inner transformation that happens when you decide to really take control of your own itinerary. To understand the influence of these hidden truths, we can begin to understand that every choice we make is an opportunity to reaffirm who we really are. And this is the reaffirmation demands courage, constant, because it is not always comfortable with letting go of the old certainties or face the fear of the unknown. But it is precisely because of this discomfort is the potential for further growth, for it is there that we find the key to true freedom, emotional and mental well-being. This is the freedom that it looks so simple at first glance. It's a big achievement and a daily battle to silence against the inner voices that are trying to keep us tied to our own limitations. At the same time, their journey reveals that the impact of our decisions are heard outside of us. When we first started to live closer to the truth, have an effect on the environment around you, waking up in a string of changes that are often beyond our imaginations. It is as if each and every step of the authenticity of it was like a seed planted in the soil of the transformation, the sprouting of new possibilities and the awakening of awareness about who you really want to be. And in this movement, we find that the real power lies in the ability to choose our own self-narrative, creating a story that is based on truth, free of masks and deception. And it is precisely at this point that it connects you with the most profound impact on our journey, because to be free from the shackles of the past and the external expectations, we begin to live more lightly on the planet, the more the purpose, and above all, more of a connection with our inner selves. In this connection, it gives us power to face any obstacle, because we know who we are, in fact, and therefore, we were able to keep the focus on what really matters to you. This is a change of mindset. This is a transformation from the inside to the outside. It's what allows you to move forward even in the face of adversity. It can seem insurmountable at first glance. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this topic, is because of this understanding that the truth is hidden. It's the key to real transformation takes us to reflect on the decisions we make every day. For each choice, as small as it may seem, bears the potential to bring us closer to or further away from who we really are. And you are well aware of that. He challenges us to become more aware of our intentions and our emotions and our most earnest desires. This is not just about changing behaviors to the surface, but dive into the essence of what drives us, what makes us vibrate, and how we can align our actions with that inner truth that is often hidden under layers of fear, self-doubt, or the expectations of external stakeholders. In the transformation, therefore, is to go on a journey of rediscovery, continuous, where every time a new discovery reveals new possibilities for growth and new areas to explore in our own history. It is as if with each step taken in the direction of the authenticity of it was a piece that fits into the puzzle of who we really are, thus forming an image, a more clear, more real. And in doing so, we came to understand that there is no mountain is too high, or an obstacle that is too big, when we are in tune with our inner selves. After all, it is the impact of living according to the truth. It is a force that exceeds any of the threshold, the energy that drives us forward, always on the hunt for a full of ourselves. He comments that, it makes no sense to me. If you've come this far, it's because they really wanted to immerse yourself in the reflection next to me, and that says a lot about your willingness to grow and learn more. I hope that through this video, you've been able to get any idea or inspiration for you to use in your routine, in your way of thinking, and the challenges of day-to-day. In the end, each step is in the direction of truth is an achievement in itself, however small they may seem. So, if that made any sense to you, leave a comment saying, "I'm with you till the end," or something that shows is this message really touched her heart. It works by helping to strengthen our connection here on the channel, and that it's made just for trading and mutual growth. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to leave a like. It is a way of showing that the conversation was worth it and that you want the return. Here, we construct a continuous journey, and your support makes all the difference. And, of course, I want to invite you to continue with me for the next videos. It has one that complements the many who talk about it here. You can click and keeps me there, so we can learn more of these issues and continue to grow together, one step at a time. Thank you so much for being with me until the very end. Your presence here makes a difference, and I'm hoping that this connection remains strong. wrong. See you next time.